Colorism, the lazy man's racism.
Society has attached meaning and stereotypes on people based on their skin color, without considering their ancestry. We've dubbed this phenomenon colorism.
We, as a community of people, need to be aware of and recognize our tendencies to make these generalizations of each other. We must be mindful of how our stereotypes might be influencing our perception. It's a cross-cultural problem that can only be solved with a cross-cultural effort. What do other people have to say about this issue?
Colorism, I guess, is just the tone of someone's skin, the way people judge others by the tone of their skin, not and having anything to do with any other facial features or body features or even like ethnicity or like implied like stereotypes behind their their appearance, just simply the color of their skin.
Colorism to me is just seeing someone through only the color of their skin, basing so much just off that one feature of the person. Assumptions and social class, everything is just based off this one physical feature of that one person, and that's what colorism is.
Coming into Minneapolis, where there are a ton of Asian foreign exchange students, people assumed that I was a foreign exchange student. Like Asian people would come up to me and talk and say, like, start speaking Korean, and I wasn't insulted by that at all. But I was just like, wow, you just assume that by the color of my skin that I'm this way, and I never encountered that before I came to Minneapolis, where there's more diversity and so more opportunities to be stereotyped, I guess.
So I remember one time my dad got mad at me for saying I was brown just because I noticed the actual tone of my skin, and he just really wanted me to identify as being African American and like being proud of my heritage, but I just didn't really understand it. And whenever I was with my mom's side of the family, I noticed getting the stares by like being the only person of color in the room, and just remembering how uncomfortable that made me feel, just because I was getting looked at even though I didn't see the difference between me and everybody else.
Back at home in Somalia, just like in America, people are seen, the lighter you are, the more prettier you are, and the darker you are, it's just looked at as if you don't have money or you come from a bad side or like a bad tribe, because in Somalia there's a lot of tribes, so the darker the person is, like the bad tribe that he's from or she's from.
Well, when it comes to like dating, I know I've heard a lot of people tend to like Caucasian side or like the lighter skin tone side of things, because they associate that with wealth and just success.
For me personally, being that I'm med school bound, I think an advantage is I'm not only competing with other students, but specifically students of color, and I think that puts me at an advantage because I consider myself in the higher percentile within my race.
I'm given more slack as opposed to people who are Caucasian.
The disadvantage of the color of my skin would be, why can't I think of one? Oh my god. Yeah, there's so many, right? Sorry.
Because of my skin color, sometimes I'm looked as an evil person, or being a Muslim, it also has its labels, being called a terrorist, or being looked at as if like that had things to do with the 9/11 or things like that.
Like I just took my girlfriend to a Thai restaurant just down the street on Riverside, and they asked me what drinks would we have, and they automatically assumed that we would just take water.
I would sometimes walk into a store and automatically stereotyped against or just looked at in a different way, and I really don't like it. It's uncomfortable and it's not really it's not me, but based on what people see from the outside, it's what I'm summed up to.
We must learn to enjoy and embrace the endless differences between us and the visual pleasure color brings us every day. Don't spite the blind man by thinking just because you have the power to see, you also have the power to judge.